everyone! Welcome back to Virtual Teen Summer Reading. This is Amber for Make and Take It Mondays. Our theme for this week is one of my favorite genres, mystery. I love mystery novels, and one of the first series I think of is Nancy Drew. Nancy Drew has been around for many decades, and the character has been featured in novels, comics, video games, and TV shows. One of Nancy's most prominent tools is her flashlight, which is what gave me the idea to make flashlight cards for this week. Now that we know what we are making, it is time to check our supplies. If you haven't already, make sure that you have your kit and take a glance at the kit sheet with listed materials. These materials include black and white cardstock, a plastic sheet, a thin marker, and some traceables for ideas. You will also need to grab your own scissors, glue, and a pencil. If you want to be precise, a ruler would also be helpful, but it is easy to estimate measurements. The first step of the project is the most important, and that is choosing your traceable. For this project, you can use a puzzle like a Rubik's Code, talked about on the kit sheet, an intricate saying to cheer up the person you plan on giving the card to, a message written in Morse code or another language, or you can edit any image to work with a few simple steps. First, pick any digital photo and drop it in a Microsoft program like Word or PowerPoint. Format the picture so that the saturation level is 0% or at grayscale. Then add an artistic effect filter like photocopy. The line should have a strong contrast to trace, but some parts of the photo, like the white text in this one, need to be inverted. So I would need to write the words and trace the sign in black instead of filling it in with marker. For my card, I decided to choose an old Nancy Drew coloring page where she is hiding with her cousin and best friend from a villain. Make sure your traceable is cut to just show what you are tracing with no extra white edges. Using whatever traceable you've decided on, we are going to cut the plastic sheet to size. My traceable is about 5 inches by maybe 7 inches. So I want to cut the plastic sheet a little bit bigger than my image. I like to add on anywhere from 2 centimeters to an inch to the sides. This process does not need to be precise since we can cut the plastic sheet more later once the cardstock sleeve is made. In my case, I'm just cutting the sheet in half to create a large card. Once you are done cutting, make sure that the plastic sheet fits over your image with room on each side. Now it is time for us to work with the cardstock. The black cardstock will act like a sleeve or a picture frame minus one side, while the plastic acts as the glass of the frame. Taking the plastic sheet, align the sheet with the left bottom corner of the cardstock. Our goal is to have black cardstock showing above and to the right of the plastic. If you have a ruler, measure 2 centimeters along the right edge of the plastic and 1 centimeter along the top edge of the plastic. If you don't have a ruler, you can simply measure a thumb's width along the right and a pinky's width along the top edge. Once you have your right and top edge lines drawn, cut off the extra cardstock. The only extra cardstock left will be used to hold and frame the secret picture. I measured in 1 centimeter on each side, then drew new lines. The upper right and left corners are formed into boxes and need to be cut out to form a neat frame. I like to draw X's on things that need to be cut just in case I forget what I'm doing when I pick up the scissors. Does that ever happen to you? Maybe it's just me. After all that cutting and measuring, it is time to form our sleeve by folding the cardstock. I watched a few videos about cutting out cardstock online, and all of them seem to use a stiff straight edge, but I actually think it might be easier to just fold the cardstock along the lines. I struggled to pick up the edge of the paper and push down on the ruler at points, so you can try both and report back what you thought was easier. Make sure that your lines are crisp with the folded sides laying nearly flat against the paper. Once you have done this, you can slide the plastic sheet into the sleeve. If the sheet bends at all or you can't get it in, trim the right side until it slides into place. The plastic inside the frame doesn't have to have straight lines since it will be covered. With the plastic in place, Unfold each side to add glue before firmly pressing the edge back down. I suggest using a glue stick for this since the glue dries more quickly. Start with gluing and folding the right edge, then the left edge. Make sure the edges are firmly glued down before adding glue to and folding the top edge down. Let the sleeve dry for a few minutes to make sure that all of the edges stay in place. Step 5 is both the easiest and most likely the longest step. Grab your finished and dried sleeve and the traceable you chose in step 1. Slide the traceable into the sleeve so that the image is visible through the plastic. Place the sleeve somewhere flat to prevent the image from sliding around in the sleeve, and begin tracing the black lines with a thin marker. You can shade in any shadows with the marker as well. Don't worry about touching areas you have already traced since the marker dries quickly and shouldn't smudge. Once you have traced everything that you think is important, remove the traceable from the sleeve to check your progress. If you would like to add any more lines, just add the traceable again and realign it using the lines you've already created on the plastic sheet. Our last 2 steps will be to create the paper flashlight for the card. You will need to select the flashlight that is the correct size for your image. I selected the largest flashlight, so now we're going to cut out the flashlight stencil. Don't worry about cutting exactly to size. I prefer to cut a little bit inside the lines. Using the flashlight stencil from the last step, trace the flashlight onto the white cardstock using a pencil. Add a flashlight beam by finding and marking the center of the flashlight. Here I marked a centimeter or about a ½ inch where I thought the bulb of the light would be. Then, using a straight edge, draw a beam so that it is a little shorter than your image size. Round the edges of the beam to make the light look a little bit more natural. Once you are satisfied with your beam, you can cut out the flashlight stencil. The final part of the project is completely optional, and that is to color the paper flashlight. I used gray and yellow markers for mine, but colored pencils or highlighters or even crayons would work if you want to color your flashlight. I started with a dark yellow edge, then faded to light yellow, before adding dark yellow stripes. You can also see me using a special white marker. This is called a clear blender. It just makes the marker lines fade together a little bit more and blend. Next, moving on to the body of the flashlight, I follow the same steps as the beam, with a dark gray border, light gray interior, and some dark gray metal ribs, with the final touch of a black button. Let's see, card sleeve, check. Traced image, check. Flashlight, check. Now you can combine your card sleeve and flashlight to get the effect of looking around the dark room for Nancy Drew, or trying to crack a secret code from an escape room. Thank you for watching episode number 2 of Take and Make It Mondays. If you enjoyed this craft, check back next week to see how we can upcycle some old comic books. This has been Amber, and I miss you all. Bye!